Well, first I would listen, okay, and I think that's extremely important. Listening to people that improvise, right? That's where I would start. Then I would take tunes that I'm familiar with and try to embellish them, right? So if we're playing Happy Birthday, so I would try to start embellishing that a little bit. Or whatever, just try to change it up as much as possible. Then I would learn my scales and I would start the tunes that we were speaking of earlier. I would use those scales and I would try to have little melodies. I would try to practice with either Jamie Aebersold or someone that's playing piano. And I would use those scales to try to create little melodies, right? But even before I would do that, I forgot to say this, I would listen on the radio. I'd turn the radio on and I would just try to improvise with the song that's going on. I would try to find what key they're on in and just try to improvise. And just, you know, of course it's not going to be perfect, but what we're trying to do is just train our ears and get comfortable with it. So that's what I would do. Then I'd probably get a tune like C-Jam Blues, get the particular scale that matches the chord, right? And improvise using the notes in the scale. But even before I use the scale, I would only use the notes in the chord itself, right? So if we have a blues and the chords are if those were just the chords, then I would only improvise off of those four notes, okay, and try to create little melodies off of those, which is very difficult because when you limit yourself with the notes you use, then you have to rely on your sound, you have to rely on rhythm, and you have to rely on melody to make those solos interesting, right? So once you limit your choices, it helps you to develop these three areas which will enhance your solos when you start using more notes. So if those were my only notes, I'd probably do something like this. So I'm improvising and I'm only using those four notes of each chord. And I'm trying my best to think about my time, rhythm, space, sound, right, to make that solo interesting. I feel that if you can make a solo interesting with just the basic fundamentals, then when you have more notes to choose from, then you can just embellish. That's how I feel. And that's how I would start.